Hey, this is Double R. I wanted to tell you that Anchor by Spotify is a great and easy way to make a podcast with everything you need and all in one place. Anchor has the tools to allow you to record, edit your podcast straight from your phone or your computer. When hosting with Anchor, you can distribute your podcast to all listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Best of all, it's totally free. So go down the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. This is the Let's Roll Podcast with your host, Double R. What's up, everybody? It's your host, the Rolls the Most, Double R, and this is the Let's Roll Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about wanting to do my life story as either in a video or a book. I want to write my life story, the difficulties of doing that, and much more right after this. So I've had this idea to write or put together a film, like a documentary, so to speak, or something like that, along the lines of telling my life story. And I've had this idea for a while. And some of the problems that I'm running into in doing this is especially about the writing part. The writing part is going to be very difficult for me because I'm dyslexic. I don't write well. I don't read well, spell well, punctuate, and all that. So, and I know that I could kind of just either audio record myself telling my story, talking about my life, which I've kind of done with this podcast in a way, in some episodes. I also know I could just kind of talk to my computer and have my computer dictate what I'm saying, and that would be okay. But again, I just need help in the writing part of it, because I would like to, put out a book, about my life and dealing with my disability, my OI, that kind of thing. So I've had this idea for a long time. And then the other part of doing it is maybe not do a book, do it like a video, like a mini documentary. And I've had this idea to go out and go to different, like my first childhood home in that neighborhood and get some footage over there and talk about some of the things that, I did growing up there. Obviously film some stuff here where I live now, which would be my second, quote, childhood home. And then, like, visit all the different locations that I've lived before, go to different schools. I would really love to go to, like, all of my older schools and be able to go inside and kind of film inside and show, like, some of the classes that, just different areas of the school that I got to do things and stuff. So I have this big idea, and now when it comes to filming, that wouldn't be too difficult, but I would like to find somebody that is good at filming stuff like that and willing to want to take the time to do that. And obviously this would be at least up front would be a non-paying job. It would be a non-paying job for both. So if somebody wants to, like an up-and-coming writer wants to come and or get with me and help me write my story, or an up-and-coming film, student that wants to put together something that, kind of a practice run, get some practice in, and use me as that, I would love it. But that's been my goal. I kind of want to do that. And I part of this podcast I've used to, in some ways, document a lot of my life. There's not a whole lot of documentation or anything written down about my life, what's gone on through my life. and stuff like that. Like, I've been in the newspaper a couple of times. I was actually in the National Enquirer, and I think I was in there like when President Kennedy was shot or something like that. I was in the same issue. I was in a local paper for my costume, and people that know me and follow me on Facebook have seen that little small article. I've also been in a local paper in Magnolia, Texas, when I worked at the library. They did a little write up on me working at the library. So I've been in, local papers and stuff like that. So there's that documentation, some of that I would have to look up, see if I could like get a copy of it and see what they said, what it all said and stuff. But yeah, I've used this podcast kind of document a lot of things in my life and, things that I've done, but it's not really telling a complete story. It's not really giving you, all the ups and downs, especially all the ups and downs that I can remember. And I just had this great idea. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I came across something that I'm like, there it is. There would be, especially to a video, that could be the opening of my video. And I could still use it, even though I'm about to play it here. But I could still use it. And I think y'all are gonna find it interesting. Y'all are gonna get to learn my real name. I try not to say my real name. I want to stay with the moniker or the alias or the AKA, the double R. But without really making this audio that I found, I decided just to keep it. I've had it edited a little bit, or sound quality improved, and then I've gone back in and I've edit some things out. Like some space, some dead silence. There was one part in the audio that this music just popped up. And so anyway, let me give you what I found. I found a cassette. And this cassette was recorded by my 11-year-old self, along with my grandmother. And I tell my life story at that particular moment in like 3 or 4 parts, and it was just kind of cool to hear myself, especially as an 11-year-old. And I'm just gonna say this up front: I don't sound like I'm 11. I sound like I'm even younger than that. But I was very small, and my voice was small too. But I was 11 years old, getting ready to turn 12. So yes, I was still a kid, but I wasn't like a little kid. So anyway, I'm gonna play it and let y'all hear the whole thing. It's only about 8 minutes long, so it'll take up the rest of this podcast. But I just, wanted people to hear this because I think it's funny, and there are some funny parts in it. Like it's hilarious for me now that I'm 51, will be 52 this year, to hear my 11-year-old self say some of the things that I just thought was really funny. But anyway, with that being said, let's let you hear my life story told by my 11-year-old self in 1982, and I believe it was May. I'll tell it in the audio. It'll tell you exactly when we recorded it, and we'll do all this right after this.
Hello, my name is Russell Page. I'm going to tell my life story. This is a part 1 of my story. I was born June the 13th, 1970 at 10 p.m. Houston, Texas. When I entered the world, the doctor said that I would not live for 3 days or 3 weeks. But 2 days later, they called my mom to tell her that I could be brought home. The first few years of my life, I had many broken bones and operations. One day I was watching a parade and my wheelchair started to roll off the curb. As a result from the accident, I had broken my forehead and my nose and 2 legs and 1 arm. A few days after the accident, I was back home. December 1982, I had an accident on my new bike. I had 2 broken legs. It took 2 weeks for my legs to heal. Part 2 will be in just a moment. Now I'm going to tell you a little more about the type of operation. The operation takes about 2 hours or more. You would probably think this is gross in the operation. They take my bones out of my leg or arm. They put the rod in my bone and put the bone back into my leg or arm. That is what they do in surgery. Part 3 will be in just a moment. Part 3. Now I'm going to tell you about my school accident I had. In 2nd grade, I was going to sit down on a chair when the chair slipped out from under me. I had broken my right hip. We'll have the second part of this school thing in a few moments. Now I'm going to tell you the other part. In 3rd grade, I was in my wheelchair when my friend went to my coat tray. When he got my books to put in my coat tray, he had to move me out the way. I fell out of my wheelchair and broke my 2 legs. The end of my story for now. In case I didn't enclose my parents' name or doctor's name, I'm going to now. My parents' names are Mr. Bench and Mrs. Bench. Their real names are Jerry and Ann Bench. My doctor's name is George H. Lane and bone specialist. My brace, I'm going to put him in my stupid story. Alright, instead of my brace doctor, he wasn't really in the story, but the doctor who really saved me when I was first born was Dr. Womack. He's my cousin, and he gives me a lot of free medication, helps me when I'm really sick. Like I said, most of the doctors I know and most of the doctors I don't. The people who helped me put all this stuff together was my grandmother, supplying me with my tablet full of paper so I could write this, a pencil and some lead to go with it, a tape recorder, a mic, and a little a pledge thing for my other tape recorder. We spent a night and a day and a night. I spent all day at school on it, and I spent all this night on it. Also, tomorrow I'm going to be a clown for Fields Day, and that's mostly what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, if I have anything else to tell you about, I'll put it on this tape. Mama Tree, would you like to say anything before we go off?
It's been a pleasure to listen to you writing this story of your life and also recording it. I think you've done an excellent job, and I'm real proud of you. That's my little grandson, and I've enjoyed you staying this weekend, or rather this first part of the week, and then I understand you may stay the weekend too. All this has been done when your precious mother has been in the hospital with surgery on her arm. Now she'll know how you feel when you take an anesthetic and when you are in bed in a hospital and can't do just everything you want to and all. Well, it's getting late now, and I think we better wind this up for now. And it's like Rusty says, we may add to this tomorrow because other things will be coming up. Every day brings new, interesting things in the life of Rusty Banks. This is his grandmother, Mary Swenson, speaking. Thank you very much.
If you have heard this thing before, you might want to write your life story and put things in it. Goodbye, and my name is Rusty Banks. This production was put on May 17th and 18th of 1982 by Rusty Banks. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Well, everybody, that was my life story told by my 11-year-old self. I hope you enjoyed that. There was parts of it that I found funny, and I hope you did too. And but as always, I appreciate everybody always coming out and listening to episodes of my podcast or our podcast. Make sure you look out for newer episodes every Thursday. They release around 6 a.m. in the morning on Thursdays now. Make sure you go and check us out at theletsrollpodcast.com. And as always, until next time, let's roll.
Hey, this is T. Rich, and you listen to the Let's Roll podcast with Double R. Make sure you follow us on all social media. Find the links in the description below or at theletsrollpodcast.com.